We're back here on the platform in the final segment of our program, and I love speaking with Mrs. Elma Garraway. At the break, I said that I would ask you whether or not we are on course as a nation. Are we really on course? You know, the World Bank the other day uh, had a report on the level of discipline in Cuba and the level of education in Cuba
I've been there, I've seen it.
and the amount of professionals Cuba is giving the world. And they have about 12 million people.
Yes.
We have under 400,000 people. We live in a so-called sophisticated society.
Third highest GPA in
Yes.
the Western Hemisphere.
That's right. Our per capita is right on number 3. Are we on course as a nation?
We are on course in some areas, but the areas related to the quality of life of this nation, we are far off course. What are these areas I'm talking about? I'm talking about those areas related to family life, children becoming children very early, the whole morality of the society. We are off course badly. I do not hear enough in the conversation about the rapid growth of single parents, illegitimacy, whatever you want to call it, among teenagers in this country, or the relationship between children who are born in these environments and circumstances without the support of caring adults and its relationship to crime. We're not having that conversation at all. What are we doing to address it? We knew when there was the AIDS epidemic, and you used the medical pathology, so let's go to some medical things.
Okay.
Spent some time in health, and I have a great appreciation for what they did there. We knew when it was this epidemic of the rapid growth of AIDS in the society, there was a massive social mobilization, education. Remember Rosa May Bain, everywhere, Dr. Gomez, working diligently. We had the support of the Clinton Foundation, who brought down the cost of the antiretrovirals that were needed. And of course, we're talking about, I had said to Rose May, fine, I see what you're doing there. I want to hear the word abstinence as well in this whole campaign. We knew we provided the education for it. Why isn't the same being done about teenage pregnancy or family planning? Why isn't it being done? I think we need to have the conversation, and I'm not hearing it. So we're off course there. That's number one area where we're off course. I also feel we're not quite on the course that we need in terms of the development of our young people and the kinds of self-employment that they can bring to themselves rather than the dependency on an employer. I think we can do more in that area of educating our people, of seeing the worth of farming, of seeing the worth of fishing, of being a knowledge worker versus someone who wants a salary at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter the quality of work he's doing or the kind of service he is preparing. I think we're off course there. And I think in terms of education, we're doing our best, but we still need greater provision of preschool education.
Preschool education.
Preschool education and quality preschool education, so that we can, by the first grade, children come into school ready to learn. The quality. I know the Ministry of Education, Agatha Archer and her group, with the funding from the IDB, We've done a lot, but we still have a way to go. You only have to speak to the teachers in the primary school. There is a vast gap in the readiness of the children who come to school in first grade, who can get on with the work, as those who are not ready. And it has to do with the whole, we get back to the language, that whole language development, that whole experience of being in the home, all the learning that must occur in order for that child to be cognitively ready to learn. We're a little off course there. We need to do more. We need to do a little more. Working collaboratively with the private groups and the churches, etc., to provide that quality and that every child.
Mrs. Garraway, we are an ill-disciplined society, especially in city places. When you go to Long Island,
oh, it's such a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. You see a higher level of discipline
yes.
in the family island.
Let me tell you, we saw, my sister and I counted 3 bits of litter between Grace. We went from Grace into Hamilton's to do some licensing of a vehicle, and we counted only 3 pieces of litter on the street. That's at least 10 to 15 miles. 3 pieces of litter. Could you imagine? We were so proud.
Mrs. Garraway, I've been to Long Island and I've been to other places in the Bahamas, and you see the same thing. But in our city, New Providence, you see the indiscipline. You smell the indiscipline. Why?
And you know why?
Why? Tell me.
Those of us who know what is right, who know what the standards are, we are afraid. We are now afraid.
What are we afraid of?
To speak to those who are not doing that which is right. It's a different world. You wouldn't dare.
So you are better socialized in Salt Pond, Long Island, than you are socialized in New Providence?
It shouldn't be, but the village is still raising the child in the smaller communities. They are still responsible for each other. We know who our neighbors are, Mr. Jones. In some instances, we don't know the neighborhoods anymore. We don't know them. The neighborhoods as we knew them no longer exist.
Do you think
and that's a part of the problem.
Do you think it is a newfound prosperity?
Of course.
That the more prosperous you think you are,
that's the part
the more likely it is for you to be ill-disciplined?
Not really. No, I wouldn't follow that argument. The more prosperous you are in some instances, it makes you more reluctant to do the kinds of things that you know happen to be right.
Slackness takes over. So you become a little slack. So you become a little ill-disciplined.
No.
You start breaking rules.
No. You give attention then to your immediate family, to your immediate social group, and you become not immune to what's going, but you're now separate and apart. So you don't see what is happening out there as impacting your own little social world. See, the neighborhoods have changed.
Violence is pervasive in city places.
Yes.
And
we're afraid.
We're
afraid. We have burglar bars. We have pit bulls.
You're a prisoner in your own property?
In Long Island, the door is open at our little inn, and it says, close the door after you. It doesn't say lock it. Because there's the little kitchen and living room where you go and make your tea. And guests are amazed that the door is open. And you can go in. It isn't locked. And no one takes anything from Ellen's Inn.
From Ellen's Inn.
It's called Ellen's Inn. And no one takes anything. Her old kitchen is still there. No one takes it.
I wonder why.
Because the people are disciplined.
You know,
it is from a tradition too.
I went to a store in the Abaco Keys some time ago. And
you purchase what you want and leave the money.
Yes, how
I know that. I know that place. It's an honors thing.
An honors society.
It's an honors society. We will
the
grow.
The whole
in,
shop is there.
Yeah, but we will go into that, Mr. Jones. We will grow.
Just leave the money in the box.
We will grow into it. See, that's what I do. That's why I don't despair.
How? Tell me how.
You know, we're going to grow in it.
How are we going to grow into that?
By
in this society?
Yes. In pockets we will.
Tell me how.
I have great faith because you know why? I deal with a lot of young people and I see them. And look at our own families and our own church groups and they will go out and permeate the rest of the society.
You can have an honest society, Mrs. Garraway, in this Bahamas,
pockets
where you can go into a convenience store without anybody serving, an attendant, with a box, and you want a tin of cream, and you just
get your cream and
and leave your money.
But
you believe that can happen here,
Mr. Jones? It wouldn't happen everywhere, but I think in many of our family island communities, if they had to do it, you can do it. And I still think in certain areas, you've got to have faith as a leader.
It can happen here?
You can't have it in a large scale now.
You still believe in a tooth fairy?
No. Not on a large scale, you may not get it. On a very large scale, you may not get it.
Okay.
But in pockets, you can. I think in pockets. And in where
that's when we begin to get the society back on course.
Aspects of it on course. You must not be the purveyor of doom.
But I have to have this level of cynicism when I see the level of crime and violence around in the society. And when you can speak so enthusiastically and comfortably about Ellen's Inn in Long Island, and we cannot have that kind of atmosphere in our city places.
Because that's, be realistic too, that's the nature of cities as well. Okay. See, that's the nature of cities. This whole urbanization too has, and with the affluence and all of it, and those of us who have moved from our inner city neighborhoods and will abandon them, don't forget we too must take some of this responsibility.
Who was Ellen?
That was my mom.
Okay. I need and which settlement is that?
Deadmanski.
Deadmanski.
And
it's Lower Deadmanski?
No, Deadmanski proper.
Deadmanski proper.
Right.
I have to go to Deadmanski to see Ellen's Inn.
Yes, it's our little family, it's our home, and we expanded it, and we made a little bread and breakfast.
And you get up there often?
I don't get as often as I should, but we do.
Very
but
good.
My sisters are there.
It's wonderful to see you.
And you.
And
my pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Yes, come by often so that we can talk.
Well, you know, whenever you call, Mr. Jones, I'm ready, willing.
And you are forever young.
Oh, now you see, you'd have me coming all the time just for that compliment.
Thank you so very much.
Oh,
Thank you for watching and listening to our program. Good evening, everyone.